good friend of mine, Barry Papick, and I just want to say thank you for accepting my request once again. It's great to see you again.
Hey, it's so good to be back.
Now, for people who want to watch season one, you were nice enough to be a guest on season one, and for people who want to know what season one quality, it wasn't my best work. So I was basically recording everything from the phone and the camera sword, and basically it was phone, camera, and camera sword, whatever. Season two, and actually you don't know this, but I will explain. Season two was computer to the phone, or the computer to the camera. That was season two. Now I'm using what was it? Skype. How else we were talking? I'm now using Skype recorder. So now it's in HD. I'm doing a Fox News CNN type thing where it's gotta be cut down the middle. I'm gotta be on the right, you're on the left. And it's in HD, better quality.
I'm usually on the left. That's good.
And it's just you watch season one, and you can watch our first episode and see how it evolved over the years. And it's great to see you, especially after 2 years.
Yeah, 285 is really impressive. I mean, that's amazing. Congratulations.
No, I appreciate it. And now everyone can see the big difference of how I first started and how the shitty the quality was. So it's like, hey, you finally listen to me, or he finally took his head out of his ass and he's actually he's doing something professional. Hey, good for you.
Good for you.
No, I appreciate it. Now, with that being said, you have a half hour, 45 minutes of your time. Say anything you want, curse if you want to. And starting off, I'm going to throw you a curveball or just throw you a pitch.
Go right ahead.
This is your time. You can ask me anything. Let's do something different.
Oh, I get to ask you questions?
Yeah, you can ask me anything you want. Gloves off.
Okay. Who's been your favorite, the favorite person you've interviewed?
Let's see. Out of 285, thanks to you, I would say there's a couple. I would say Vince Russo, Kerrigan Mayhem.
Great name.
You ever worked with them?
No, but I love the name.
I worked with Richard Epcar.
Okay.
Let's see what that's free. Ron Wiseman, he was pretty good. And there's
what makes these guys good interviews?
Well, Vince Russo because he was in the wrestling business. Kerrigan Mayhem because he was the voice of Goldar.
Wow.
And he does impersonations, and basically what makes a good interview, it's upbeat, fast moving, unpredictable, and just really enjoyable to watch.
That's fantastic.
There's some people where I'm like, yes, okay. And going back to my demo years, I interviewed people like that, and I was like, yeah, I can't do it. I'd rather cut my wrist because it's. You can say, let's talk about acting. Blah, 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 blah. Okay, where did he stand on gun control? Fine. Okay, wonderful. Okay, where do you stand on gay rights? Where do you stand on people are using a race card? Okay, fine. Okay, how many minutes? Well, 10 minutes, and I have to do another 25. It's not gonna work. So, it depends on the person. Like, you have a great personality. You're upbeat. You're funny. That's what people love. If you have a personality of a stump, it's really going to be painful.
No, I can imagine. I do a radio show, which and I have guests on my show every week, and some of them I just feel like falling asleep. And you could tell because, I have a partner on the show, and when we have a boring guest, she asks most of the questions because I'm just not interested, and that's bad on my part. But when we have an interesting guest, you could see I'm involved, and I love it. I enjoy it. Of course, most of our interesting guests are also beautiful women, so that's not a bad thing either.
Right.
Now, let me ask you a question: Are you getting involved in in the political scene this year with all the debates? I know we had the Republican debate last night, which was better than Comedy Central, and the Democratic debates, which I've been watching. Have you been involved in the politics of our country?
I would love to have some politicians on my show, even though a lot of people say that's gotta wave some red flags. But it's whatever. I interview everyone: blacks, whites, Spanish, actors, actresses, models, CEOs, professional wrestlers. If you're willing to make a new friend and have a good conversation, I want you on the show. I don't
Yeah,
care.
all of those people sound interesting to me, except the actors, which is a little weird. But of course, being an actor myself. Um, so, do you lean one way or the other politically?
Well, to answer your question without going on a tangent, um, I would like to stay neutral.
That makes sense.
And, I would vote for Chris Christie. Yeah, I think he has a lot of potential. I like Trump. He just.
Awful. He's awful, and he's an ignorant man. But go ahead. I'm with you.
It's just funny to react. And Trump, he says stupid things, but he knows what he's talking about. It's like me.
He has no clue. That's the amazing thing, and that's the amazing thing about this country, is that he has all these backers and he has really no clue what he's talking about. Politically, I mean, internationally, the guy's a moron. Domestically, the only thing that he's done is run a business into the ground 3 times, where he's needed to be saved from bankruptcy 3 times. So, I mean, the guy's an idiot, and his policies are absolutely, well, first of all, impossible, but second of all, ridiculous. There's more Muslims in this world than any other religion, 2 point some odd billion, and he wants to eliminate all Muslims from the United States. I mean, it's just ridiculous. We were built on the fact that we take everybody, that our shores are open. The last thing we need is a divisive person like Trump. Chris Christie, he's a fat slob, but he is what he is. And me, I'm somewhere to the left of Mao, so what do I know?
All right. Well, while on the subject, who would you vote for? Did you see it last night?
I did watch it last night. And a simple answer as far as that debate goes is that I would vote for none of those people. For me, Hillary Clinton is still the best candidate we have, no matter how the right tries, to disparage her. And Bernie Sanders is a great candidate who I love. I don't know that Bernie could win, but his issues are certainly the closest to mine. People call him a socialist, which is totally ridiculous. He believes in social democracy, which in most of the countries in the world, Germany, England, they're running, strong social democracies. The only thing that's trying to do is do away with the 1%. Bring the middle class back as a stronger entity in the United States. So, for me, Bernie Sanders is certainly the best candidate out there. I just don't, I don't know that he could win. But I happen to like Hillary Clinton a lot, and I've always been a supporter of hers. And by the way, her husband is the best president that we've had in the last 30 years. He left our country. Forget about what he did in office as far as sexuality with interns. That doesn't affect me. The question I always ask is, how did he leave our country? And he left our country stronger than any other president has, as has Obama, by the way. I'm a big fan of Obama's.
All right. Well, you bring up a good point, but Clinton was okay. Yeah, I don't know much about him, but this one, well, you're probably gonna make a face. But a lot of people just say he's ton of fun words. A lot of people say he's mentally challenged like me, or retarded, but I like Bus. I liked GW.
Did you? There's not a lot of reason to, but I appreciate that you did. He left our country in shambles. Obama has, it took Obama 6 years to correct the problems that Bush left. We had the biggest deficit we've ever had. By the way, everyone's talking about the fact that Obama used the executive order, for gun control. GW used the executive order twice as much, as Bush did, as Obama did, and Reagan used it even more than Bush. So, a lot of what he did was simple, and but this is my biggest problem with Bush, and I think he's probably a nice guy, but my biggest problem is that he surrounded himself with people that weren't nice.
Yeah.
Rumsfeld, Cheney. These are people that we shouldn't have involved in our politics because these are mean people, and there's no reason in this world for us to be mean. Strong and mean are two different things. We need to be strong, and we are. We're the strongest country in the world. But we don't need to be mean. We need to be humane.
No, absolutely. And the only things, trying to find the words for it.
Mm-hmm.
Like I like Bus, but he did a lot of good things, but he did also a lot of stupid things, like get into the war.
Absolutely. The Iraq War. Listen, I think that besides really bad domestic policies, I think his legacy is that he got us into the Iraq War, which proved to destabilize the whole region. Proved to be the reason that ISIS rose, and and separated the Shiites from the Sunnis, which caused incredible problems in the Middle East. So when it comes down to his legacy, I think his legacy will be the Iraqi War.
That's true, but would you agree or disagree if he never, and this is, he for the record, I think it was either Bush or Obama who killed Saddam. And it's like, hey, you know what? I missed the guy. And I explain why I say that. One, he kept his people under control. There was no Arab Springs. There was sure as hell no ISIS.
And there was no problems between the Shiites and the Sunnis.
Yeah, he kept everything under control. This country, because it's what we're talking about in the debate, they want to wink, police the world. They took Saddam out, and when he did that, he had all these nut jobs running around. And Daffy, when Daffy was keeping his people under control, you took him out, and so it's like what the inmates running the asylum.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. And it was Bush, by the way. And the instability in the Middle East began when Bush went into Iraq. And it was for pure money. It was really Cheney who wanted to go into Iraq, because he made a fortune through Halliburton once they attacked Iraq. So the instability of the Middle East started right there and continues today. And fortunately, we're slowly but surely taking back the Middle East. But they have huge problems that are going to go past my lifetime and past yours.
No, absolutely. Now, the next politician question actually Jim can go to another subject, is gun rights. Do you support the Second Amendment, number one? And do you or do you not support killing in self-defense? Only in self-defense?
Well, first of all, it's a really loaded question. The Second Amendment I support the Second Amendment, but it's incredibly outdated. When the Second Amendment was written, we were shooting people with muskets.
Yeah.
The Second Amendment was written so we could defend our country. The Second Amendment it's ridiculous that people stand behind this amendment that's incredibly outdated. I believe in gun control. I believe that background checks are important, and I believe that nobody with a past of aggressiveness should own a gun. Do I believe in killing in self-defense? I believe in protecting yourself. But I also, a perfect example is a friend of mine just got a gun, a young girl. She doesn't have the sense to have a gun. She's going to either shoot herself or she's going to shoot somebody else by mistake. And there's just no reason that she should have a gun. It's only going to cause problems. It's not about self-defense. It's about hurting herself. So I believe in background checks. I don't believe that anybody in this country needs an automatic weapon. I don't believe in militia. I believe that if anybody owns an automatic weapon in this country, then they're being aggressive. It's not about protection. It's about aggression. So, I think that the Second Amendment is something that people lean on, in order to say, oh, these are our rights. The Constitution is about, the Constitution is about how we should protect ourselves, how we should feel. It needs to be adjusted. It's 200 years. 200. If I told you, to go by all the rules of 200 years ago, your life would be incredibly different. My life would be incredibly different. I'm a Jew. I wouldn't even be permitted to speak to you like this. So, 200, the things that happened 200 years ago are very much different than the things that are happening today. So do I believe in the Second Amendment? No, I believe that the Second Amendment, as much of the Bill of Rights, needs to be adjusted to present day.
No, absolutely. That's why it's called amendments. You can fix it.
That's right. Absolutely. And, these people who stand behind the Second Amendment, like the NRA, are people who are scared to live in the present day. They're scared to see the world come, to a place that's more humane, because they don't want it to be humane. It doesn't serve them for the world to be more humane.
No, absolutely. Now, my opinion on it, first one is killing in self-defense, and I said this all through 285 interviews. I support killing in self-defense. I give you a perfect example. If I was hanging out at your house or you're over my house and some nut job comes crashing through the window or the door, and if your wife is in danger, you're gonna do everything to protect yourself.
How often does that happen? What happens more often is things like that happen in St. Louis. Here, I have a perfect example for you. Michael Brown. Michael Brown was not a nice guy. He was stealing from his local bodega, but he was unarmed, and he was 17. And at 17, we still have a lot to learn. I was not a nice guy when I was 17. We still have a lot to learn. So, is shooting a guy like Michael Brown and killing a guy like Michael Brown. Maybe you say that's self-defense. He's a big guy. He was like, what, 6'4", like 300 pounds. He's a big guy. He's coming at you. Is shooting him in self-defense, logical, or is finding a way to stop him and put him down without killing him much more logical? So just the word self-defense in itself is misleading and way too vast a subject to broach.
No, I agree with you, but still, you just said it. He's like 6 foot to 300 pounds. You know what? I would do whatever I had to do to protect myself.
But if you're a cop, you see that the difference is me and you. We're regular people.
Yeah.
But if you're a cop, you're hired, to protect to protect everybody. So you can't just do what you have to do to protect yourself. You're protecting the public. So a guy like Michael Brown, you have to find a way. And if you can't find a way to protect yourself without killing him, then you shouldn't be a cop.
Right.
And that's the biggest problem. Listen, I'm a big supporter of the police department. They've been very nice to me. I also feel like there's bad apples in everything. Every job, every occupation, there's a bad apple. We have bad apples in our police department, and we have to make sure that those bad apples don't remain, because what happens is, and that we don't protect them, because what happens is they make the rest of the department look bad.
Yeah. I'm not saying like, I support killing in self-defense. If your life is in danger, if someone's coming at you, and it's your last resort, then yes. But if I'm just saying just for the hell of it, and now this goes back to my second point, I do support the Second Amendment. However, if you're mentally disturbed, handicapped, or people who are retarded, or just mentally unstable, and you can put whatever spin on it you want, they should be banned. And you say, hey, I have a learning disability. I really don't give a damn about having a gun. So you want to put me on a list saying you're banned from guns? That's fine. I really don't want one. But if you're a ticking time bomb, you should be banned from having. And then that's another thing they talk about. And mental health is a big thing. You want to kill in self-defense, that's fine. You want to have a gun for protection, that's fine. But do I think people to take advantage of it, saying I have a gun permit and I'm gonna walk around with it? First off, if you're walking around with a gun and you have a permit, you're asking for problems.
I agree. And also, let me just say, there's just no reason, and nobody could ever give me a good reason except putting up the Second Amendment. There's no good reason that we shouldn't have background checks and that we shouldn't have waiting periods. If I need a gun, it doesn't make a difference that I get it now or I get it 2 weeks from now. There should be waiting periods on every gun, and there should be background checks on every person.
No, absolutely. And I said this, mentally disturbed, handicapped, just mentally unbalanced, criminals, convicts, rapists, murderers, whatever evil people are out there, they should be banned, period. Even if they've been arrested before, period, they should be banned from getting firearms.
I agree.
Now, moving on to a happier subject.
Yeah, let's talk about something lighter now.
Now, you have your own company. As we were going back to our first interview, we talked about how did you break into the business and everything. How is your company doing?
And I'm really excited because we have, we're making really new strides. I'm opening a new school called the Artists Playhouse. Myself and a partner, Alex Watson. Alex used to work in casting. He's going to be teaching audition classes. I have, excuse me, fighting this cough. I have 2 or 3 other teachers who are going to be teaching scene study classes, and I'm going to be teaching a master class. We're starting a school. It's going to be the best, most complete school in Los Angeles. And we're aiming to be the best. Now I've worked with everybody. I'm really lucky. I've coached Jamie Foxx. I coached Dennis Quaid, and I have coached Claire Danes and Sonja Sohn, who's on The Wire, and Alec Baldwin, of course. And my class, is going to be a very special class, as it has been for a long time. But now it's going to be a part of something different, and we're really excited about it. We have a website. called theartistsplayhouse.com. And I think we're really starting something that's going to be very different and very exciting. I still have my acting career. I still make my living as an actor, and I think that's great when your teacher is out there working, because your teacher knows what's happening on a day-by-day basis. This has been a really good year for me. The last 2 years, I've done 2 pilots, 1 pilot for NBC, 1 pilot for Hallmark. I had a huge voiceover campaign for GNC, the GNC Beat Average campaign, and I was the voice of Beat Average. And I also have a commercial running now with Odell Beckham, the football player from the New York Giants. I'm producing my own content, which I really want to talk to you about. I just finished directing a short film called Breakable. Really excited about it. Myself and 2 other actresses. And I learned so much directing this film. I wrote it also, and it's a film about dementia and Alzheimer's. And I learned so much directing this film. Acting in it was, that's part of me, but direction is just so much fun. And I also produced it, which I would never do again. It's just too many hats. But it's great, and I've become a part of a production company called Station 82, and we're producing short films right now. We're also doing a reading series every other Tuesday night, which has been really exciting. I have a new film which I'm ready to shoot called On the Edge. And, what we're doing is in the last 2 months, we've produced 8 short films.
Yeah.
And so we're out there making our own content. And that's really exciting. So between Station 82, which is making content, and, the Artist's Playhouse, which is teaching actors, how to truly work in this business, I'm really excited about the new things that are in the horizon.
No, absolutely. So what did you mentioned the projects you wanted to talk about?
Yeah, well, the first one, of course, is Breakable. And, I'm in the editing phase now. I'm hoping by the end of the month I'm going to be finished editing it. It was a piece that came to me very quickly. A piece on dementia between a brother and sister. When a brother lives in Los Angeles and the sister lives in New York, and she, inherits early Alzheimer's, and how he has to deal with that. And the third character in this is his sister's daughter, and how she deals with that, his niece. So it's a really beautiful piece. I'm going to have it ready, hopefully, for in the spring for some festivals, and I'm just really excited about it. It's a great piece, and it all started with Station 82, which was developed by myself and Gareth Williams, mostly Gareth Williams, and Gareth was one of the first members of Naked Angels, which is the biggest and best theater company in New York City. So Forrester Wilson, incredible actress, has sort of taken the ball and run with it. And we have some really wonderful people involved. At our last meeting, our last read-through, we had 50 people at the read-through. We read 15 pieces, and the Tuesday nights are just to read pieces and to experience art, and then ultimately we see which ones we want to shoot. And like I said, we've shot 8 pieces in the last 2 months, so it's really exciting.
No, absolutely. Now, I don't know if I asked you, but what can you tell us? What were the steps you had to create to get to where you are?
That's a good question. It's a really good question. The first thing that I did, and I believe that every actor should do, is I went to acting school. I studied with somebody who I thought, really could take me under his wing and teach me. I was really blessed because when I was young, New York City was very fervent, and there were great acting teachers. I studied. Lee Strasberg was my mentor, and I love Lee Strasberg. I studied with Uta Hagen for 2 years, and Uta, was amazing. I studied with Susan Batson, who is still one of the best coaches in the world. I always say I'm the second best coach in the world because Susan Batson is in New York and she's an incredible acting coach, and she coaches everybody. Um, so the first thing that I did was I got into an acting class, not only to learn acting, which I needed to do, of course, but to form a community. The people that were in my first acting class are still the closest people to me now, as far as art goes. The first director that I worked with, she was a scene partner of mine in an acting class. She wasn't a great actress, but she became a great director. And we're getting ready to do our fourth piece together in Norway. So I'm really excited about that. It just went up on IMDb. And we did a piece called Faces on Mars together, and we did a piece called Little Noises together. We did a play together in New York City. So, it's been a great relationship, and it came from my acting class. Acting class is about forming community. And that's also what Station 82 is about. It's about forming a community so we can work within, to make, bigger and better things.
Now, is Station 82 anything like Stage 32?
No, Station 82 is just purely a reading series where ultimately we produce some work. We're producing new directors, new producers, a great group of actors, and it's a place where like minds can come together and create, and that's really what it's all about. Great people. I mean, if you looked around our meeting last week, you saw some of the top editors in the country. You saw some great directors, and incredible actors. Actors whose faces you'd recognize and who want to do more and create more. So it's just been really exciting for me.
No, absolutely. Now, just throwing that out there.
Yep.
Well, actually, I'm gonna ask you after the show. But what's the kind of time we have left? What projects do you have on the horizon, and do you think you're gonna be in the New York area?
I always love to be in the New York area. I was supposed to be in New York last month, but I broke my rib, and so I've been healing. It's been an incredibly weird month. I broke my rib, and then the rib hit my lung and caused some fluid. So it was just a long month. So I don't think I'll be in New York probably until March or so. I usually try to get into New York 4 or 5 times a year. This has been a tough year. But as far as things I have on the horizon, I want to shoot On the Edge, which is a short comedy. Most of my stuff is so dark. Breakable is a very dark film. So On the Edge is a comedy about a guy sitting on the 14th floor ledge of a building, contemplating his life, and his friends come out to see him. And it's a funny piece, and I want to shoot that hopefully within the next couple months. And I'll shoot that with Station 82. I'm going to do Jane Spencer's film in Norway, which I'm really excited about. It's called South of Hope Street, and we're going to shoot it in Norway with a great cast. Like I said, I've worked with Jane. This will be the fourth film I do with Jane, so I'm really excited about that. I wrote a pilot, which I'm trying to sell. I think it's funny, and it's called Pearl, and it's I love it. So I've been meeting with people. It's a little hard edged. So I've been meeting with people at Showtime and HBO, and we'll see where that goes. It's a really wonderful piece, I think, and very sellable. So I'm trying to sell people on it right now.
No,
So
absolutely.
yeah, so I mean, for me, it's just about writing, acting, making content. Getting out there. I just did a YouTube video for a girl named Lisa Schwartz, and she has a YouTube channel called Lizbug, Lisbug, and she has 1,500,000 subscribers,
That's
which
nice.
is fantastic. Yeah, and I played her father-in-law in a this thing called Ghost Mom, and it was so much fun. And it's a new medium for me. I haven't done a whole lot of YouTube stuff. So for me, it was great, because of the amount of subscribers she had, and because it opens up a whole new audience for me. And I love what I'm doing. I'm right in a great spot right now. My wheelhouse is fantastic. I'm with an agent that I love. She was the biggest agent in Miami, and they said, if we come up to New York, can we represent? I mean, if we come up to Los Angeles, can we represent you? And I said, as long as you establish yourself, if you're open 6 months after you come up here, I will change to you. And they were, and I have, and they've done really well for me. So, I'm in a great place. By the way, their name is Green and Green. I'm in a great place, and I'm just trying to create content, trying to make interesting things, and trying to make my own work, rather than having to wait for somebody else to hire me.
No, absolutely. Now, wrapping up the talk show segment is, going back to what we're talking about the killing in self-defense and the whole gun control, and whatever. That's just my personal opinion, so I don't want you to take offense to it. I don't want our listeners to take offense to it. That's personally how I feel.
Oh no, and believe me, I don't take offense to that at all. The one thing that I think we need in this country, and this is why I really hate Donald Trump, and I hate Ted Cruz. The one thing that I think we really need in this country is fluid conversation. Is conversation between people, so we can start not only to influence each other but start to understand each other. We've been a country built on differences, and the minute that we let these differences get in our way and get angered by these differences, we're really not living by what this country was formed for. It's interesting. Two of my close friends on Facebook are right wing Republicans, three really, but two more verbal than others. And and listen. I really respect these guys. Our opinions are incredibly different, and they always will be. And our arguments are always interesting. We always have incredible discourse. Sometimes it gets nasty, but usually not. And these are the first guys who, when I ask them to like a page on Facebook, will like it. They're the first guys, who would come to support me, and they know that I am the polar opposites from them. But the reason that we respect each other, and the reason that we would help each other, is because because we're open to conversation and we're open to sharing different opinions. Now, I believe in Obama. I'm a huge Obama fan. These guys, they hate Obama. I feel like they hate Obama because of who he is rather than what he believes. Now, they would tell you different. But my point being that I'm open to conversation. My mind isn't going to change. This is everything that is, my opinions are things that are formed over many years. I was a political science major in college. I worked on Capitol Hill. I worked in the government in New Jersey. So my opinions aren't going to change, but I'm open to listening to other opinions and adjusting mine if I feel that it's necessary to adjust. So I love anybody's opinion, and I love anybody who shares their opinion.
No, absolutely. Now, wrapping up, do you have anything you want to say to your fans and listeners? How can they follow you on social media?
Absolutely. Everybody, first of all, go out and go see movies like Simone and Private Parts, all the movies that I've done, Little Noises. I've done like 25 films, so go see them. You can find me on B Papick on Twitter, B Papick at Facebook. Go over to the Artists Playhouse, and please like the Artists Playhouse on Facebook. I think it's going to be something, trend setting, and it's going to change the way we look at teaching acting in Los Angeles. So please go over to the Artist Playhouse and like it. Listen to The Inside Noise. That's my radio show, and you could go to theinsidenoise.com. and my partner Chrissy Carpenter, who's incredibly wonderful and intelligent, and puts up with me, which is ridiculous. And I just listen. I thank you for listening to me. I know that I go off on diatribes, so I thank you for listening to me and sharing your ideas with me.